To show activity. This is actually one of the lakes that actually showed activity. It was actually a fissure that goes straight underneath. Now it shows activity from what is called as this right here. Years back was a big explosion from a hot gas of air from the magma beneath the surface of the ocean that pushed a lot of hot air up and exploded and make it like a shock wave. Kind of like your actual situation if you ever explode TNT or anything. Well, that hot pocket of air has that tendency to explode when it comes out of a lake. And say, if you ever watched the volcano, or actually in LA, I think someone gets an A for that. And the fact is I'm recording, so this is what happens. Here's a tree right here I'm gonna show. And this tree, basically when the explosion happened up, that hot pocket of air from the magma coming from the fissure to the lake up the top of the surface, all these branches were forced downward with the explosion from the top of that lake. Now, as if I go further and state that we have a threat of Mount Kilauea pumping so much magma out that it can affect fissures underneath the ocean. No one can understand that that's a bit of sense. And yet the files, and I think I know who started it. So I want him. Now, this is a situation on course as I'm out here and been out here sleeping, in fact. And notice that my mind has been up on Southern California to try to create something safe haven. Now, you can understand that these branches might have been from something else, from tree cutting. But this is one thing that I see, is all these branches right here were from that explosion. All the trees that are up on the side, all the way down, these trees, basically when that explosion happened on top of the lake, that was hot gases, actually hit the trees and basically broke these branches. Now, I thought it was a tornado that hit, but no. All the branches that are visible face downwards at the angle. Now, if I come in and show you the situation of how the force of the volcano of the gases happened, because Mountain Lake is actually a fissure, I feel, that has a tendency to push magma out of its area. Yet it was founded, what, 100 years ago when they constructed Highway 1. But if I take a look at this tree right here and all these branches, well, the lake is right here, which is, I'd say, if you look at Mountain Lake and you find out that partial abilities when the hot pocket exploded, all this right here and all these tree branches that you're seeing that are leaning happen to have an effect to have had a cause to just go ahead and break from the shock wave of that hot air pocket. And now I'm flashback into the volcano of LA, La Brea Tar Pits. Any fissure that is next to the Pacific, when Mount Kilauea pushes magma in, I swear to God that I'll tell you this, if we are in the event of change because this volcano has been pushing magma out from the side of Hawaii and it goes into the ocean, and this is 3 minutes and 30 seconds counting, I have this motion to say I need every fissure studied and to keep a monitor on the temperatures of the lakes. It could get serious, because if they see that the magma doesn't stop flowing off that island, it creates more magma underneath the ocean surface to keep flowing. It's no different. It's a hot liquid that is hotter than coffee. I advise that I need Dr. Michio Kaku's situation, if I can get this message to the volcanists that have experienced this and seen the effects of what happens when you have a lake that's a fissure that runs to the ocean and yet magma gets fed up in there. We could be due for what's called as magnitude quakes as well in the future. I don't know if this is, because see, the first time that this Kilauea started flooding its magma, I feel to believe that there was an experiment done to shut off Kilauea, and yet when that experiment happened, late 60s, 40s, that's how California was able to form its state. They were too scared to come to the West Coast because they smelt a lot of volcanic gases coming this way, And I bet you that's why we had such a hard time to agree that there was war going on. When you figure that when one of these bottles of gas come out the lake, it's a shockwave upon the city of San Francisco. San Francisco, I'd like to congratulate you people, but when you get the chance, we're going to further find a way to prevent it and prevent it. This goes for the situation of getting President Donald Trump to take a look at what West Coast has. The governor of the state of California, if it's not you, Schwarzenegger, pay attention. I know that I'm related to Richard Nixon through a political affair. And for us to see this document, I'm also related to JFK through secrecy, through Marilyn Monroe. And I know it's a hard situation to accept, folks, because I look like a homeless person who's been fucked over a lot. But it's because of the fact I was born from a secret political affair. I feel of interest that when I speak, I'm not such a dumb fuck when it comes to certain things. I might cuss, but so does Mayor Rudy Giuliani, didn't you, on a certain occasion? Mayor Breeds, you have a responsibility to take a look at it. I need Dr. Michio Kaku to study this as well, because the fact is, that's what might be able to start up Yellowstone if the magma comes this way and starts to fill up fissures with the pressure of the ocean on top, with it hot, not stopping to cool down one bit. My name is Merrick Monroe Hutchinson. I go by birth, but I go by Merrick Monroe Beasley. They consider me to be Ricky Beasley as well, and Myrick. I go by 3 different names because, hey, people want to track and see who I am. The abilities to see someone jogging, that's nice. Exercise as much as possible. But on this potential course, I see a result that Mountain Lake is one of your fissures, that if magma comes in, it will start to flow like a volcano. And yet, if anyone can prevent it, we have our science that can probably help. I figure to either close up the fissure using concrete, or we deal with it, and all these fissures that are not tracked, closed up as purposely. That way, we don't have magma coming towards our coast into the fissures that are tunnels. Now, you scuba divers know it. I've seen the study that the scuba divers were able to go into a lake and find themselves right up in the Pacific Ocean. I suggest that this be looked at by every politician, senator, as well as those that are scientists and volcanists, that this could be a change of course for the U.S., and yet that means that tax money has to be prepared. I'd like to understand that the Coast Guard, the Navy, the Marines are responsible to report back if they ever have assignments like this to study something so privileged, because it's always like the Hollywood movie that you're going to see. As me being here, I state that my instinct says I could evacuate, but if I don't report back, hey, I said it once. I say like this, the citizens in Hawaii and civilians and those that are, I wonder how y'all feel about this incident that you report about the volcano that's in Hawaii, because it is serious. It's a change of what is called, as the former President Barack said, is climate change that can't be controlled. This is what's affected the West Coast for years before it was put to sleep. That's why you see nothing but desert and the Death Valley. Southern California, please make sure you keep yourself cool. And those that know it, just be able to understand that we could see events change. We need to take more word of warning as I stand here and wonder that this could be one of those. It is. Because the fact I see the results. I finished speaking. Dr. Michio Kaku, I need your secondary advice about Mount Lake and other fissures, because you're volcanist, and this has to do with activity of magma flow that could come from any one of them. Also study the fact that La Brea tar pits, whoever did the movie, I hope you're so correct, but I think you are if it's official. The woman that did the, was a little older. I was a little boy when I saw the volcano in LA with the La Brea tar pits next to Washington, D.C., not Washington, but next to Wilshire. What am I recording? Would you like to know? Come on. Show yourself, that's right. Anyway, just this presentation, broken trees, that's not from people climbing. That's because it was an aftermath of the explosion that happened from hot gases coming from this lake, mountain lake, that is right next to one. So we'll see what the possibilities are. I don't see any situation in the state that it could have been a tornado that touched down because it's too flat or what happens. But the situation comes together is that this intrusive Kilauea, if it doesn't stop flowing magma out, will be affected. Good day, I'm Spanish Speak.